All right, Sistas fans. Look, first of all, I'm sorry. I tweeted out a little after 7 o'clock, like, hey, I'm tired. I'm going to play nap roulette like I did last week. And if I wake up on time, I'll watch the episode live. But if I don't, I'll just live tweet. I'll watch it on YouTube TV and then, talk about the episode after that. I closed my eyes around 7:15. Ironically enough, they had just released the sneak peek for the episode, and it was nothing but Hayden on the phone trying to call Tamara, and Gary comes in. And the moment I saw that, I'm like, I ain't even going to bother doing a quick video about it because this scene just kind of tells me this episode ain't going to be anything. I'm not going to miss much at all. So, close my eyes, 7:15. I woke up 11:45. I'm like, holy crap. And here's when I knew the episode wasn't hitting on nothing. I barely had any DMs about the episode, any tweets, at me on, Twitter as well. But the only small handful of messages I got about the episode all had to do with the same thing. The opening scene where Fatima calls in those guys. Other than that, nobody said a thing. Folks, this episode was a snooze fest. Now, hey, granted, there were a few things I liked about it, but yet again, I did not need to watch it live because the commercial breaks just killed. I watched it double speed, no commercials. I was done in about 20 or 17 minutes, give or take. And I could tell that if I had watched this episode live, the commercials would have broke up so many scenes that I would have been bored out of my mind, even though I watched it in less than half an hour. So I'm giving this episode a 4 out of 10. The Oval won this week, no question at all. Make sure you check out my review on that as well. But we gotta endure. That's all I can say because I keep saying it. We just gotta make it through season 6B because of the setup, introduction of new characters, the exit for mainstay characters, because that's just the way it is. Let me just talk about the things I liked first, but then I'll get into the actual review, which won't take long. I liked Fatima's, calling up her family and all, as well as her telling Zach that she doesn't like calling her family for favors, which gives me Mitch Malone vibes. Haves and have-nots reference here. The fact that there's only so many times he can ask for favors of his family before they expect things of him. And we know he doesn't want to be a part of that life. So it just kind of, I like how it kind of limits Fatima's availability of accessing Madam and her other connections. But at the same time, I think it's pretty cool to just see her in action. And she basically had a million man march go up to that dang apartment. From there, I liked, even though the date, between Andy and her friends and Jordan and his friends, that was a majority of the episode. But even though it felt like it dragged it sometimes, I did like that we got some backstory on Andy's parents. The bus scene was really cool, and I really loved when the guys recited a speech from Coach Brown, their college, I guess like basketball or football or just athletic coach. So that was pretty cool. And what else did I like? I think that was about it. So maybe 3 things I liked. So I'll give it a 4 out of 10. So before getting into the actual review, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And let's move on to 300,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button if you are new here. I do recaps like this every week. I do live streams talking about the episodes. I do trailer breakdowns for next week's episode and a number of discussion points like theories, character analysis, and everything else in between. So again, if you are a first timer on our kind of entertainment, there's a lot of videos up, over 8,000, so you will find something you enjoy. So let's jump in because this episode can pretty much be summed up in like 5 different scenarios. Fatima and Zach get Michael. Andy and Jordan continue their date. We make a brief pit stop by Hayden's place where he talks with Gary. Karen talks with Pam on the phone, and then there's the encounter at the grocery store. That's pretty much it. Also, I was right. The ending of the episode was going to be the grocery store encounter, which was less than 10 seconds long. They could have easily just cut that out. And I get it because they needed a draw for people to watch next week's episode. But even I would have been like, okay, they didn't even need to put the grocery store thing at the end of the episode because it was just such a non-factor. That's the thing people wanted. It's like, yes, they're finally at the grocery store. And then the episode cuts off. There's no point. There was no point of that. The promo for next week looks good, though. Just to foreshadow that. But, yeah, I'll talk about a couple things. Real quick, the Hayden scene. Just the same old, same old. He's still chasing after Tamara. Gary comes over for some paperwork and, pretty much mocks him. They have their exchange of, oh, well, you talking about me and Tamara, but, hey, you and Andy ain't so hot either. You're going through it, aren't you? I think the only takeaway from this scene was that apparently, just like Hayden and Tamara had a very quick romance, apparently Gary and Jasmine had a similar thing where they had a very quick courtship and marriage. Well, courtship before they got married. So as a result, Gary probably rushed things without really thinking it through. And then, of course, we know how their marriage was just a crap heap, which would not have been the case if I were the one with Jasmine. I'm just saying. But aside from that, Hayden talks about how he's a creeper, Gary's a creeper. And I know you say you don't want to know, but guess what, man? I got you. You might be concerned about who Andy's being matched up with on this website. So from there, we go over to... Oh, yeah, I know they tried to, insert some comedy here when Gary was about to leave and he called Hayden's phone and then pretended to be Tamara. And then, Hayden fell for it. At that point, I'm like, yeah, they're really dragging these scenes along for the purpose of the runtime, 42 minutes. Karen gets a call from Pam, and it's like 11 p.m. apparently because Karen's talking about how she needs to make a grocery store run. Why don't you get Aaron? No, I don't want anything from him. No. Well, you shouldn't have tore up that check. Pam, what do you want? And pretty much, Pam is concerned about her rent and whatnot. It's like, so when am I going to get paid again? Well, the salon is burned up, so there's no real telling when I can give you a check because I have nothing right now. And then Pam talks about how I might have to take another job. Well, hey, do what you gotta do. Why don't you sign up for unemployment? Well, Pam doesn't, sign up for unemployment. That's not enough money. So, yeah, I actually like this scene because it does talk about the real implications of what are these characters going to do if they don't have any money? I mean, they gotta get other jobs. And I mean, that goes along for Karen's other employees as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how long the salon repairs will take, how much it's going to cost. This, that, and the third. So we go over to the beginning of the episode, which Zach is beating the hell out of Bones, and then two guys come in to try to get Zach off. Fatima shoots a warning shot. I predicted this, but what I did not predict was Fatima just taking control of the entire situation. She gets the Bones to roll up his sleeves, I believe, to identify like maybe a tattoo or something. And then she makes a phone call. And then she gives the phone, or actually Bones gets a call. And then it was so cute that Zach was telling his son, hey, Michael, it's okay. We're going to get you out of here. And then they go downstairs. And Fatima's like, because as soon as, they're doing that, Bones looks at Fatima and apologizes. Oh, no, I'm not the one you need to be apologizing to. So as they go downstairs, the old woman is like, was there a gunshot? No, there wasn't a gunshot. I know a gunshot when I hear a gunshot. I call the police. Well, hopefully you killed that bastard over there anyway, or that MFer. And then it's funny because Zach is covering his son's ears. And from there, we have, it was just funny. It was. From there, out of nowhere, as Fatima, Zach, and Michael are going to the car, like I made the joke before, it was like the Million Man March. You got like 15, 20 dudes with blunt weapons. I'm talking bats and everything. Fatima's like, he's upstairs. And then Zach is like, wait, what's that? Yeah, let's get in the car, Zach. No, I mean, what was that? Zach, let's get in the car. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll strap up Michael. You get in the car, and then Zach drives off. And later on in the drive, Zach is like, okay, what the hell was that? It's like, look, Zach, he's sleeping. Okay, fine. How about this? Let me pull over somewhere. You get in the front seat so we can talk about this. So as I mentioned earlier in the episode, Fatima talks about how, yeah, I got some connections, and honestly, I just don't like calling my family for favors like that. But essentially, it boils down to the fact that what I liked about this scene, and like I keep saying, folks, I love that we only have these brief Zatima scenes because they actually mean something. I guess you could say following up from Zatima season 2, you have Fatima talking about how she understands Zach better due to the fact that, it just makes her stomach turn to see how Michael is being quote unquote raised, where, he smells and he's probably not being fed and tended to properly and is surrounded by bad influences like, that Bones character. And you had to go through that. And then and you see how Fatima's really trying to talk to Zach about how, I feel so bad and I understand you more. And it's like your mom, and Zach's like, look, can we please not? Because do you want me to start crying right now? And I really love that. It just, you know what? Despite all of the drama and whatnot surrounding the Michael situation and Fatima understanding Zach more because she met his brother and mom and learned about how he was raised, these two are going to be terrific parents because they know they know what not to do. That's my opinion. And also when they're getting Michael from the apartment, you have Fatima's like, hey, you like ice cream? We're going to get you ice cream. And then Bones is on the phone, probably talking with somebody who's threatening him, to be beaten to an inch within his life. And they take Michael and they bounce out of there. But aside from that, I believe the only other thing to talk about, so like I mentioned before, Zach and Fatima, they're in the grocery store, and then they meet Karen, and then that's the end of the episode. But like I said, that's at the tail end for like 7 seconds. Everything else in the episode is related to the, I guess you could call it like a triple blind date, so to speak. So what should have been just an hour turned into a 3-hour date between Andy and Jordan because they hit it off. And, instead of just hopping in bed with them, they're getting to know each other well. And I think that's pretty good. And it's kind of funny because they both agree that what they should do when they go over to their friends, because they realize that the girls and the guys, they're at the same booth about 2 booths down from where they're sitting. And they agree to go over there and pretend that they had a lousy date. So they approach their friends and they both just go off on each other about, oh, you're self-absorbed. You talk about yourself too much. And it's like, you're nothing like I expected you to be. And this was a waste of my time. And then they go off on their friends for making them do this. Or Jordan goes off on his friends for making him do this. And like, you know what? You're right. When you talked about your friends being lousy, like Danny and Sabrina, and Danny was about to fight somebody. But, they were just playing. And everybody gets up, they're about to leave, but the guys convince the women to, see them again, for a barbecue at Jordan's place tomorrow. And it's like, oh, so soon? It's like, yeah, I'd love to see you again. So yeah, they agree to go over. Like Danny's at first like, talking to Tony like, look, I got pressed, and so it's like, I'm not trying to do all that. Sabrina is saying, I got so much going on, and Rich is like, come on, but one dinner. She's like, okay then. But then from there, they convince the girls to get on the bus. It's like, what, do you ride a Rolls Royce? And then Andy's like, yes, I do. And they're like, oh, never mind then. But basically, they agree to take the bus, which is a interesting change of pace. But they have a very good scene where they're walking down the street. Rich is, talking to Sabrina about how she's special. And, Tony's talking with Danny. And then, of course, they seem to be hitting it off well. And I get it. A lot of people feel like, oh, this is just too much. It eats up too much episode time. But, I mean, let's be honest here. Even though, yeah, I agree that, the date did take up a lot of screen time. at least it was better than just filler with Maurice and Calvin or something like that. So for that, I will give the episode props. It was a very well shot scene as the characters are walking down the street. Then sorry about that, this chair squeaking again. Then the guys go to get the girls some roses, and they agree to go on the bus, which again was a interesting scene. And at first I thought it was just those 6 on the bus, but I did see a couple people in the very back, so it wasn't like, oh, it just so happened to be an empty city bus. But they get to talking. Andy talks about how her parents both worked hard to, take care of her, and riding the bus reminded her of when her mom would drop her off at school and then, get back on the bus to her second job. And her dad was a hard worker too. He had passed, and, Andy tries to do nice things for her mom. And I'm thinking to myself, so even though we haven't really met her mom or anything like that, I wonder if Andy got her anything once she got that $1 million+ lawsuit win at the law firm, or that settlement. And I'm like, I hope she did. I mean, she put up $1.5 million to get Sabrina out of jail, so hopefully she got her mom something nice too. And from there, okay, this chair, I am going to stop moving. Tony is talking with Nanny about, oh, you know what, I think you're beautiful, you're smart, you're a 10 out of 10, and you're strong-willed, because she mentions all the phone conversations, like, well, honestly, I don't even know what to say, because you pretty much know a lot about me already. And from there, they talk about their experiences with Coach Brown, which honestly, I really love the scene where they recite the speech that the coach gave them, taking basically like New Edition, taking the boys and making them men. And, they also talked about how the coach was not fond of their divorces, but at the same time, they probably all just married the wrong women. And it seems like they're good guys. I mean, I feel like the biggest hurdle for the ladies to deal with is that these men seemingly don't thrive in the drama that the likes of a Gary or, whoever these men that the ladies mess around with tend to associate themselves with. I mean, these women, especially Andy and Karen, they thrive off the drama. And we've seen Danny with Preston. I mean, what do you do when you have a good man? Because you're used to having just crap ones all the time. Do you ruin the relationship, or do you try to make it work? So this could be an interesting change of pace here, to say the least. So they all get kicked off the bus because it's the end of the line. And then the ladies are rightfully pissed off because it's like, look, you made us ride the bus out to the middle of nowhere. I thought it would be a situation where, it would be like a circle. We get on the bus here and then we get off, once it made the rounds. But no, they get taken to the end of the line. And from there, they call a ride share, but they do agree to meet up with the guys again because they had a good time. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. But yeah, if you didn't watch it live, you did not miss much at all. I'd say the biggest highlights was Zach getting his son, the ladies agreeing for a second date. All the while, I'm like, damn, Danny, Preston, you finally agree to go. I really wish Tyler did not put in these two making it official if it wasn't even going to last. That's all I'm saying. Or last a decent amount of time. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.